So this is source initially,
Mm-hmm.
and this is now got changed to public IP address according to
Mm-hmm.
the netting.
Okay.
So this is
Okay.
before we know only source and destination, but our firewall knows the exactly what they are going to net. This is
Mm-hmm.
pre-netting, this is post-netting.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it has been changed. Let's go
Mm-hmm.
ahead and how will we configure? We will checking on this.
Mm-hmm.
Source net type provides the static IP, dynamic IP with port. So source net can have three types,
Mm-hmm.
right? How it is segregated on the basis of static, dynamic, and dynamic IP and port. So mostly we are using in our environment, which is dynamic IP and port. Most of the time it is static, it is up to you. So most of the time wherever I'm worked, I have been using this. So what source net types provide the administration different option of setting the size and nature of translator IP. I told you, right? Static, it could be either 1, it could be either 4, it could be either 6, it could be either 8. So it will not come into static IP because
Mm-hmm.
static IP only have 1 to 1, one private, one public. So it is very stupid to have one public IP for a static IP, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we are using dynamic IP just to have lot of
Mm-hmm.
source net LAN network, right? Lot of
Mm-hmm.
LAN network. If we have only one LAN network and one public IP, it is like sounds very stupid. So
Mm-hmm.
we are using dynamic
Mm-hmm.
IP. It means lot of source and one
Mm-hmm.
public IP only.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes.
Lot of
So
source and lot of public IP.
anybody going out from the organization to the internet shares
Mhm.
that public IP address?
Yes, here's the public IP address to the internet or website. It is being
Okay.
netted or yeah.
Okay.
Net is important. If I enable the lab also, I'll be netting some IPs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yes.
Dynamic IP and port DIPP. I'll show you in the exam. It will not easy. I mean here in the slides to understand. So let me
Okay.
just go back to here. So let me just go back to Notepad and show you some. Sorry. So suppose we are talking about source net only. So source
Mm-hmm.
net can be static, one to
Mm-hmm.
one.
Mm-hmm.
This is your one LAN network and one
Mm-hmm.
private IP. I'm just stating this private somewhere it is a laptop, right? I'm just considering it as a laptop. So it is changing to, and this is your net,
Mm-hmm.
internet, outside world,
Mm-hmm.
outside world. So it is LAN, it is communicating to this WAN, I mean public IP, and then this IP has got changed to communicate with the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
So it is static. It is source static netting, right? Source
Mm-hmm.
static netting. And if I talk about these two, there are two LAN network, right? Three LAN network, suppose. We have
Mm-hmm.
multiple LAN network.
Mm-hmm.
And if I go public network, we also need to have multiple of public IPs. This
Mm-hmm.
is source dynamic. So this is
Mm-hmm.
very difficult, right? Purchasing public IP for each one.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we have learned, we should have public IP. This is source
Mm-hmm.
dynamic because dynamic public IP, static public IP, and this is going then netting.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to the outside world. And when it comes to DIPP, destination in dynamic interface public port, we call this as DIPP. DIPP, dynamic IP and port, dynamic IP and port.
Mm-hmm.
So it will have port number along with this port number.
Mm-hmm.
Every system will be differentiated on the basis of port,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every system will be differentiated on the basis of port. They will be defined as a new port IP, port number. So port number, suppose it has one port number, it has two port number, it has three port number. So request will be segregated on the basis of port number. So whatever will be received, it will be received on the basis of public IP and port number. Public IP will remain same, and port number will segregate the request.
I see.
So public IP will remain same as it is. Port number will segregate the request. So now this destination knows which IP will be communicating and which is the port number. Port number plays an important role when it comes to DIPP, source net. Okay, these are the
What is
important
that? VIPP said? What is that?
destination interface, dynamic IP and port. Port will be segregating. So it will remain same as the
Oh,
dynamic.
DIPP. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it will remain same as the dynamic, but port will be different. Port number will be
Different.
added to
Yes.
every
Okay.
request.
Okay.
Port
And
number will be
you said that's the type that you use
yeah,
before, like in
yes,
organization.
most
That's
of
the
the
type.
most yes,
Okay.
that's the type.
Okay.
Or yeah, so interfaces you will be configuring along with the port. So this is the one which we actually so the firewall support three ways of provisioning translated source IP. Let's go and check source. Sorry. So this is something we can just understand a way. Trust. This is our LAN network, right? This is LAN network. This is our LAN IP before reaching to the firewall. Right after it reaches to the firewall, we have configured a netting in the firewall.
Yes. We NAT
So
there.
we'll get a new IP from here. So the new IP will be this. So public IP address will understand this IP. It will revert to this IP only, and this IP knows where we get the request. So it will again revert to this IP. Right, so so it is going to this IP source netting we are understanding. So what we are doing is source zone is trust, we know, right? Source zone is trust. As we already understand the security policies, we know now the trust zone and trust zone, right? So source zone is your trust zone, right? You know, so it is asking policy while creating net policies, it is asking for what is your name, so you can provide the policy name. It will ask for source zone, what is your source zone, so you can provide the trust. I know this is my trust zone. I need netting for this
Trust zone.
this trust zone. Whatever we have in the trust zone, we need. So what is your destination zone? It will ask again. So your destination zone is untrust for now because we don't know what is netted. So it is untrust, right?
Okay.
It is untrust for now. And then again it will ask for destination interface. We don't know because it is where in the anywhere in the internet. So we don't know the interface for this, right?
Okay.
So it is any, it could be any, right? And now it will ask for source address. You know the source address right now. This is your source address, right? You don't know this until unless you will reach the security policy. So netting will be, according to our flow chart, netting will be done. Netting evaluation will be done prior to the security policy.
Yeah. So what's the point now of the security policy? What does it do?
We will check it later. Let's just understand after the netting evaluation, we will go to the security policy.
Okay.
So now we know the source address. Destination address we don't know, right? We don't know. It could be any for netting. For netting we don't know, but security policies we know. We know where we are going, right? We go where we want to go. So pre-netting we don't know because we are configuring netting in the firewall.
Yes. Okay.
So it could be any source, could be any. Sorry, it is some interface kind of thing. It could be any. So source translation is something which we need to focus on. This part is important.
Okay.
This part is important.
But
So
even Vagrant, even for the NATing, for NATing only, we know our destination is that public IP address is the destination. Like the firewall knows, right?
yes, firewall knows. So source address, we have defined our address, which is so for netting, source address will be. So this is pre-net. This is not post-net. We will understand everything pre-net. I mean, netting is not evaluated at. They are just going to evaluate after this.
Okay.
After we configure this, they will be able to understand that this is something which we want to go. Let me
Okay.
just zoom it out. Can you zoom it from your end if it is visible to you
No,
properly?
it's let's see if I could do yeah, I can make it big. Yes, I did make it big. But when I make it big, it's kind of fuzzy. I can't see the numbers inside. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. I have an idea.
So trust, untrust.
Mm.
This is 192.168 15.1 slash
Okay.
24. Okay. Any
Okay.
source IP. This is original packet.
Okay.
So this is source IP until unless we are only know about source zone and destination. Now it is asking for source IP because we know source IP it's our laptop, our LAN network. So source IP we know, destination address we don't know because we are reaching to the Palo Alto firewall right now. We don't know our VPN that NAT IP. We don't know which IP is going to be netted, right?
Yes.
Until or unless we are not reaching to the firewall. And once we reach to the firewall, we know this destination.
Yes. Yes.
We only know this is the destination we are going to reach. So think about it. And then we are not directly reaching to this, we are reaching to the firewall. So firewall will change it. I don't know. So I don't know the firewall IP. So firewall could be anything. Then it is going to the services. Services is any. Services is any. Services means HTTPS application. Services could be any. SSL, HTTPS, right? So it could be any. We don't know right now. I mean, we know, but we are not configuring it right now. Suppose you are accessing a website, so it will be HTTPS. Suppose you are some application is there, so it will be there on the basis of their port. So source translation is very important. So we are doing dynamic IP and port. We are doing DIPP.
Okay.
Mostly we are doing source DIPP. So we are providing interface 1/4 where it is reaching, going out 1/4.
Okay.
So translation will happen from here, right?
Yes.
Translation will happen from this interface, interface 1/4. So it is going to the internet, right? So our traffic has reached to this interface. We know only here. We know until here, until our laptop, our LAN network reach to the Palo Alto firewall. We know now. Now translation will happen. So translation will happen. So translation will happen from here, right? So translation IP interface would be 1/4, and translation IP would be 198.51.100.22. This is our public IP. I mean, consider it as a public IP. So we will configure it here. Now NATing is complete. NAT policy is completed. This will be your interview question if you will look for any other jobs. So they will
Like
ask.
what would be the question, for example?
So they will ask. They will give you this diagram. Remove everything. They will give you this diagram. They will ask you. Now tell me what will be the translation IP, what will be the source IP, what will be the source zone, what will be the destination zone. They will ask this.
Okay.
So you will just simply think about it. This is obviously source IP, right? It is, and this is obviously a source zone. And then they will ask you destination IP and destination zone. Destination zone is untrust because we don't know anything. Destination IP will be any. Interface will be any. Destination IP will be any. Source IP we know. So we are good till here. Now it comes to translation, which we will be configuring in the firewall NAT policy. Translation is very important, which is obviously need to discuss in the interview also. So translation is happening from here. Translation will happen from here. So now you know translation interface is this, translation IP will be this. Simple. And nowhere we are configuring in netting, we are not configuring this till now. You can ask why, because we will be creating security policy. In security policy, we will let firewall know that it is your source IP for firewall and this is your destination IP for firewall. Now will the security policy will be created.
Okay. So nothing by itself doesn't mean anything unless you add the policy.
Yes, unless we add the policies, right?
Okay.
Netting itself is
Because
nothing.
nothing by itself is like very generic, like it's
Yes.
nothing specific. Okay, got it. You're the best, Vikrant. You have very good way of
Thank you, Parula.
simplifying complicated
I just want you
concept.
to understand very well because you are also working
Mhm.
in production, so you will get to know gradually. Once you
Yes.
understand the concept, you will learn everything gradually by
Okay. Okay.
yourself, right? So,
Okay.
so again,